Samantha Jewell. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. Thanks for seeing me.
Nice to meet you. Did you find the place okay?
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah? Okay, good. So before we get into why we're in today and what you have to talk about, I'm just going to go over our confidentiality agreement.
Okay.
So under anything you tell me today is completely confidential. The only instances where I'd have to break what you've shared with me is if you disclose any abuse to a child or harm to a child,
Okay.
harm to self or others, if you disclose any other abuse by another healthcare professional, and if I become subpoenaed to court. I'd have to share what you've disclosed with me in our sessions, okay?
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so I'll just get you to sign. No questions?
No.
Okay, awesome. So what brings you in today?
Okay, well, it wasn't my choice to come in. No offense, but I don't really want to be here. Basically, I was just recently divorced. And I have 2 kids who are under the age of 10. One's 7 and the other one's 5. My sister asked me to come in because she sees my drinking as a problem. So yeah, I'm just kind of being forced to come in today. Yeah, I don't know really what the problem is, but
Okay. So your sister is the reason why you've come in today.
mm-hmm.
Tell me about your kids. You said they were 7 and 5. What are their names?
One of them is Daniel, and the other one is Jessica.
Okay.
Jessica's 5, so she's the younger one. They are my life, especially after recently becoming a single mom. I do everything I can for them. I really, I'm currently unemployed, but I really try my best to do everything I can. They are my world, as I said. So it's been a little bit difficult raising 2 of them, but Daniel does help out a lot, and my sister helps out a lot too. That's kind of like why she's been around so much. So yeah.
So what I'm hearing is obviously it must be tough being a single mom and raising 2 children under the age of 10, for sure. But it just sounds like you sound like an amazing mother. I mean, you do anything for them, and everything revolves around them. It sounds like you're a great mom.
Yeah. So,
can you tell me a little bit more about your relationship with your sister?
Well, I'm her kid sister, so she's 6 years older than me. I grew up in a pretty close family. But she lives like 10 minutes away from me. Okay. And she's been around more recently. I was just divorced 7 months ago now. So she's been around to help out with the kids a lot. She's not married. And she's actually really successful with her career. But she's been around helping me a lot, and we're really close. But as of lately, it hasn't been going too well just because of drinking, I guess, and she's kind of my babysitter. She's kind of my go-to with the kids when I'm not around. So.
Okay. Sounds like it's been a bit of a tough road since the divorce, but you still make sure your kids are your priority, and you have a lot of support from your sister. Mm-hmm. Would you be able to give me a bit more detail on the divorce and what your life was like previously to the divorce and how things went then?
So I was married to my husband for about 10 years now. Well, it would have been 10 years. But recently I had started, I guess 3 years ago, about 2 years after my second daughter, my daughter was born, I started to drink alcohol more frequently than I'd like to admit. But I didn't see it as an issue. Like, I was just drinking when everybody else was drinking. We'd go to parties, and I wanted to go out. I was, I'm a young mom, and my friends aren't really having kids yet. I'm only 28, and I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to go out and have fun, and my husband would come with me, but it started to get to the point where he was getting mad at me. We would get in fights after every night we'd come home from a party or from the bar, and one night it just was really bad, and I basically told him to leave, and he did. So he just up and left, and kind of left me and the kids. So I didn't really know what to explain to the kids, and I don't see it as my fault it was his choice to leave. I told him to go, but it was his choice. Like, I didn't force him to do anything, and he saw an issue that wasn't there, and now my sister's bringing it up, so it just feels like I'm being attacked, basically.
Okay. So what I've gotten from all of that is you were with your husband for a long time. I mean, you would have only been, 18?
Yeah.
When you guys met that?
Yeah,
That's a young age to,
Very young.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you had a pretty good relationship to start, but just near the end, it became kind of focused on your drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about the drinking? How often were you doing it? And was there any reason for it? Like, did you use it as an outlet, or?
Mm-hmm. Well, when I was younger, like, I met my husband when we were 18, but when I was like 14, I picked up the bottle and I started drinking with my friends, and I was kind of the first of my friends to start drinking and wanting to go out and have a good time, but I guess it was kind of a norm with my family. Like, my parents were heavy drinkers, and so I just kind of, like, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I come from an Italian background, so alcohol isn't a big thing. Like, it's something that I could handle, and I did. My parents, like, weren't super aware of it, but they also didn't really care, it felt like. So I started drinking at 14, and I just continued. And then when I met my husband, it slowed down. Like, I never drank when I was pregnant with my kids, so I could stop at any time. I prefer to continue drinking. When I met my husband, like, I didn't go to school. Like, I just was so in love. Like, we were really in love. So we just decided to get married as soon as I turned 20. And I didn't get a chance to go to school. I had my first kid, and then I had the second one, and school was just never an option. So I had full-time jobs and stuff, but, like, I don't know, I preferred to be at home with my kids and then go out on the weekends. So I haven't really been able to keep a steady job, which my sister thinks is because of the drinking, and I can see why she would think that, but really, like, it's my choice. Like, I choose to drink because it's relaxing. Like, when I get home from being with the kids, or when I'm with the kids all day and they finally go to bed, I open a beer and I drink. Like, it's just casual. So yeah, it was just always a normal thing, and now it's just apparently become out of hand. And, yeah.
Okay. So just to summarize everything that you've just shared with me, you mentioned that as a kid growing up, it was kind of the norm in your household that your parents would drink just because your Italian background. It was just a normal thing within your family. It might have been a bit on the heavier side, but nothing that really interfered as children growing up. I mean, you sound like you had a pretty healthy household.
Yeah. Just want to ask again.
So I just wanted to ask, on average, when you have these casual drinks, maybe after the kids go to bed or on the weekends, how much would you typically drink in a night?
Okay, well, I know I'm little, but I can handle my alcohol. I would have 8 beers in a night. Throughout the day, I'd kind of be sipping on 2 when I'm with the kids. And then when they go to bed, I have like typically 6. 6 is like the max, 6 is like what I would usually drink, and then 8 being the most. But I don't sleep very much, so I'm not like chugging them back. It's just like casual drinks when I'm watching TV. And honestly, my husband used to have 1 or 2 with me. I'd outdrink him, but like I was never like just wasted out of my mind in front of the kids. I don't see it that way, but that was one of the things that my sister mentioned again. So.
Okay. How often during a week would you say you would have the 6 to 8 drinks?
Probably closer to the weekend. Like, the kids go to daycare. Well, the youngest one goes to daycare from Monday to Thursday. Yeah, Monday to Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, she's with me, and Daniel's with me on Saturday, Sunday. So it's mostly like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing, and I'll have like 1 or 2 with dinner, but that's like it. Like, I don't drink every single night, so I don't drink as much as I do on the weekends, I guess. But like I kind of noticed like I said, when I was little, like we would have alcohol at dinner, like just a glass of wine with dinner. When I was a little, like when I was a teenager, and the only thing that's scaring me is that like my 5-year-old is growing up around it, and my 10-year-old's growing up around it, and he's starting to have some trouble in school. And I mean, I don't see it as a connection, but my sister brought it up, and it's like all I can think about now. But I don't know. It would be scary if they kind of took on my habits, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is, on one side, it's just casual drinks throughout the week, maybe 1 or 2 at dinner, and a couple when the kids go to bed. You try to focus it not being around them as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, I'm hearing you say that it's really hard for you to keep a stable job, and you are becoming more worried that you don't want this to be a norm around your kids as well. You don't want them to grow up in that environment, and you're expressing more worry now that they're getting older. They're able to recognize it, and with them, Daniel having trouble in school, you don't see it as a connection, but your sister does.
Mm-hmm.
And it really seems like your sister is able to recognize other things going on in your life and confront you about them. She feels comfortable doing so, but you, on the other hand, don't agree with a lot of what she has to say about the connections.
Yeah. My sister's always been, like, the lookout one for me. Like I said, I'm the younger one. So, like, I can see where she's coming from, like, why she's worried. Because, I mean, we kind of went through that as kids. Like I said, drinking was normal, but my parents did go over the top a lot. Like, my mom and dad would come home just wasted, like, and my sister would be babysitting me because she'd be like my second mom. So that was what I saw. That was normal. And I don't think I'm like that. I don't come home and like swear at my kids like my parents used to come home and do with us. But like, I'm not like that. I try to be okay in front of my kids. I think they really saw how bad it got when my husband and I were divorced, because they saw us fighting all the time, and I was drunk the whole time that we were fighting. So I wonder if when they see me sober, it's a different mom than if they see me drunk. Like, is the drunk mom the normal one? Like, I don't know. So I can see where my sister's coming from there. Like, she doesn't want me to end up like my mom and my dad. But I don't think it would get to that point. Like, I think I have control over it. So, and that's what I'm kind of proving by coming to counseling. Like, I think that I can get through that. So.
Okay. Let me ask you, when your parents would come home wasted and swearing at you, how did it make you feel as a little kid that those were the people to protect you and keep you safe, but instead it was your sister doing that job?
Well, I think that's why my sister and I are so close now, because she was like my second mom. It actually, like I said, I had a good, I had a good childhood. I really did. It kind of making it sound like I didn't, but I did. Like, we were a close family when my parents weren't wasted, when they were, just having a casual drink. It was just them. It was normal. But it affected me when I started to drink myself. Because that's what I started seeing as normal, and I don't know if I would have done some of the things that I did if I wasn't drinking, because it wouldn't have been normal, right? Like, I kind of convinced all my other friends to start drinking. So when they would come home, like when my parents would come home and yell at me for no reason or be swearing, and I hated hearing my parents swear. That was just not something that I thought that my parents should do at me, right? So hearing them swear to me and swear at my sister after all that she did for me that night, like, it was shitty. Like, that was a crappy thing to go through. And that might have been why I started to drink at 14. Even if I thought it was normal, like, it was probably something I did to get out of the house and not be there. So, I mean, it wasn't fun hearing my parents do what they did, but that's why I wanted to move out and get married so quickly. And yeah.
So, hearing what you felt when you were the one on the other side of your parents coming home and being wasted and having to experience that firsthand. When the tables turn and it's you and your husband or your ex-husband fighting and swearing and being out of control because you were completely wasted, and your kids see that, how do you think it makes them feel?
Okay, now that you put it like that, yeah, that's, I didn't even think about that, to be honest. Like, my ex-husband and I are basically the same as my parents. Like, we fought a lot in front of our kids for the past 7 months before we were divorced. And now Daddy's not there, right? So I don't think they blame me, but it really puts into perspective, like, what if Daniel comes home one day? Like, in 4 years, when I started drinking, I was 14. What if he comes home when he's 14 and is wasted, like, from a party? I don't know what I would do, honestly. But I couldn't even, like, I wouldn't even be able to scold them because I'm drinking all the time. So I just feel like it's now a never-ending cycle. Like, it's just going to continue. If they continue to see me drinking and getting drunk, what if Daniel or what if Jessica comes home like that? And I can't do anything about it.
Do you think the cycle has to continue, or do you think there's room for that cycle to break where you don't have to see Daniel go through that, where Daniel and Jessica don't have to be exposed to it to the point where they think it's normal and they have to go through what you did as a kid?
I mean, I don't have to continue the cycle, but I don't want to stop drinking. Like, I like having my beer at nighttime when the kids go to bed. I like being able to relax and just hang out, and I miss that with my husband. And that's why it just feels like he's turned on me, but, like, I don't think that the cycle has to continue. I just wish that there was some way that I could talk to them without me having to stop drinking, really.
Okay. So now I do want to address the drinking, and on many levels people do use that as a casual outlet, and it's socially acceptable to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you be able to see yourself bringing it to just the social level? Not to the point where it's 8 or 6 or 10 sometimes, or maybe even more drinks in a night, where you're the primary caregiver to your children and you're coming home in that sort of state. Now, what if you were to cut down or slowly make changes where you don't have to fear that your children are going to enter the same cycle as you did? Now, with that, are you able to tell me some positives and some negatives based on your drinking? Now, like you've mentioned, you fear that they'll end up in the same cycle as you. Do you see that as a negative?
Well, if I can start off with positives, like, positives are easy to talk about because I'm able to just chill out. I can relax. It makes me feel good. I worry with cutting back that, like, I don't get the same buzz with one beer like I used to. It's now 6 beers to, like, actually feel anything at all. So, like, with positives, it's just being able to have as many as I want. But with that, like, the negatives are I'm buying so much alcohol in a week. Like, I'm going grocery shopping and only picking up alcohol. And that's affecting how much I'm feeding my kids. And, like, I'm not neglecting them in any way because I barely eat. I just let them, eat whatever's in our house. So it's affecting me financially. That's a negative. And like I said, I can't find a job because I can't hold one. Like, I can find a job, but it's all, like, in a grocery store or, like, wherever is hiring part-time or full-time, but I can't keep it because I have 2 kids and they have to go to school and they have to have me home at least, like, a few hours a day. And, like, I don't know, there are negatives, but I think that, I don't know, the positives kind of outweigh them in a way. So,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the positives outweighing the negatives, I want to talk about the negatives a little bit more and how they contribute to the well-being of your children, yourself, your financial situation, stability, and even your relationship with your sister. Now, with all that you've been telling me today, like we said earlier, with your sister being the one to kind of recognize the things going on in your life and how it kind of looks from her perspective and her being genuinely worried about you because that's all she's been doing for you your whole life. I mean, she's basically been your mom. Now, with what she's had to say to you, and I mean, you've taken this step to come to counseling today, which is amazing, even though you see it as a way to prove to her that you can handle your drinking. But what the negatives that you see with your drinking, I mean, you're neglecting your own health, and I know you're making that sacrifice for your children, but with the amount that you're drinking and you're neglecting your sleep and your eating and your overall well-being, that has to be taking a toll on you. And with that taking a toll on yourself, that's obviously going to affect you being able to hold a job. And with that, I mean, your kids, the fear of them going into the cycle and things like that. Are you able to see a connection with your drinking? And
yeah, like I can see now, like from what you've explained, I think like having my sister just kind of yell at me and be like, go to counseling, you need this, was different than like actually being able to sit down and hear it from like an outsider's perspective. I mean, I still don't think it's like as big of an issue as she made it out to be, but I can see like the connection of the cycle and not wanting it to continue. And in that way, I would like to change. Like the only way I would like to change is for my kids. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I still like, I really need that drink once, you know? So I mean, it is something that I'd like to work on, I guess, but.
Okay. So within our whole session today, I mean, your kids have been a huge focus. And like you said, when you first came in, you do everything for them. They're your world. And you sound like an amazing mom, and kind of getting more into the dependence on your alcohol use. You would be willing to change for them. And that's an amazing step. That's a huge step from when you first walked in the door today. I mean, you didn't even want to be here. You didn't choose to come here. But now you're telling me that you would be willing and you would elicit some sort of change towards your drinking patterns for your kids. And that's amazing.
Thanks.
So with that, would you be willing to, say, continue counseling or meet again and put towards a strategy of how we can together put forth a change in your life to better for your children?
Yeah, I mean, if it's for my kids, I'd be willing to do that, yeah.
Okay. Well, we can set something up. We can meet again and we'll put together a plan of where to go from here. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you.